Check 1, 2, here we go. Looks like our live stream is actually up and running for you at home. Hopefully it's working.
Keep some bandwidth, hope.
We'll try call Mike.
All right.
Turn that queue up, Mike, all the way. The queue, not the main. Turn the main back down to 9 o'clock. There you go. Mike, She's not there yet.
Okay.
1 minute.
What you got going on down there?
No clue. It's a little bit glitchy.
Bandwidth light flashing?
No. Go ahead and try now, Mike. Hey, Dana.
Hello. Good. That's
okay.
all right.
It's all right. Whenever you're ready.
Yep, we got it.
Welcome everybody to Oswego, Kansas, home of the Indians, where tonight the St. Paul Indians travel to Oswego to take on the Indians here in the Battle of the Tom Tom here tonight, Mike.
Yep, see the Tom Tom trophy right in the scorer's table right in front of us, and both teams right in front of us on the floor warming up. Should be a good game tonight.
St. Paul girls coming off a tough loss, traveling up to Opie. St. Paul boys coming off of an exciting victory, 1-point victory. Caleb Lemons made 1 out of 2 free throws with a tie score with about 12 seconds left, and the Indians was able to hold Opie scoreless the rest of the way for the last 12 seconds. Come out with a nice victory there, Mike.
Yeah, it was a good night for the boys. They had a chance to get up there and get a little confidence back and come away with a victory. Girls weren't so lucky. They got up there and ran into kind of a buzzsaw with that Opie team. The Opie didn't seem like they could miss. Whoever was on the floor, they're shooting baskets, and one of St. Paul, on the other hand, not able to make much fall. They only shot 33% from the field in Opie, so they're going to have to improve that tonight. They were 11-33 overall up there. We'll hope that they can come back from that. However, they did, when they got a chance to shoot some free throws, they were 5 of 7 from the free throw line, so free throw line shooting has improved a little bit, so they're going to need that along with some good shooting from the field, I think, to have something for the Oswego Indians tonight.
St. Paul with a rare night Saturday, or rare game Saturday with 20-plus turnovers in that game, Mike. I know that's one thing they probably worked on in practice since then. Entirely way too many turnovers. Shooting percentage wasn't great, but that wasn't the problem. It was all the turnovers we had at Opie. Opie undefeated for a reason. They have a very, very good girls basketball team. So Indian girls look to bounce back here tonight in a league matchup with Oswego. It's going to be a busy, busy week for basketball, as tonight we're on the road to Oswego. Thursday night we travel to Howard West Elk. Friday night to Yates Center. Saturday at home to make up homecoming with Altoona Midway. And then Monday, just a girls game only, travel to Jayhawk Lynn. And then we roll right into regional play, Mike, so we're going to be busy.
It's going to be busy for them and for us both. But, they are rolling right in. And even with that tournament stretch, it's going to be busier than that this week.
And we're going to go ahead and take a break here as we get set for the national anthem. As you're listening to the Richie's Pharmacy pregame show, as we come back from this break, we'll go over starting lineups for each team. As let's go ahead and stick around here for a minute as we get set to go over starting lineups. I think we're going to do the national anthem first. But tonight, as we're going to go ahead and take a 2-minute timeout for the national anthem here, you're listening to St. Paul Basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas, where tonight St. Paul travels to Oswego to take on the Indians of Oswego. As we get set to go over starting lineups for each team here. Taylor Watrick, number 10, for the Indians. For Oswego, and for Oswego, number 3, Riley Vale, a senior, gets a start for Oswego. Second starter for the Indians is Sydney McCracken, the lone senior on the squad for the Indians. Number 12, Lindsay Dennison, the sophomore, gets the start for the Oswego Indians. And Elise Doherty, the young freshman, gets the start for the Lady Indians. For Oswego, number 13, Chandler McNichol gets the start, the junior, for Oswego. And for the Indians, another young freshman, Claire Bradshaw, coming off a great game the other night, Mike. 19 points on the night, I believe.
Yeah, Claire had a good night the other night. That was one of the bright spots in the St. Paul game against Opie.
Abby Long, the junior, gets the start for Oswego. And last but not least is Katie Coombs for the Indians, and for Oswego, number 21, Ryan Shedrick, the senior for the Indians. As we are getting set for tip-off here, as it is a league game. So the Indians got league games this week with Yates Center and Oswego, and then the girls will have a league game Monday night when they travel to Jayhawk Land, and a league game Saturday when we make up home game at home. Everything's except for might be a little earlier start maybe on Friday. Saturday's games are a 6:30 p.m. start. Not real sure why, but homecoming and senior night there on Saturday night, Mike.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go with the weather canceling homecoming. You know, that kind of throws a hitch into a lot of the festivities that we're used to seeing, and hopefully that won't have too much of an impact on the way the girls can play.
Watrick, Coombs, Bradshaw, Doherty, and McCracken gets the start for the Indians. And we have 8 minutes on the clock, and we're set to get underway here in this league ball game between the Indians. Tip is controlled by Oswego. Indians come out in their man-to-man. Vale holds the ball up top, guarded by Watrick. Tries to create a little space. Picks up her dribble. Now back cut, swatted around by Doherty, but it ends up in number 13's hand. That is McNichol, and it's going to end up being a jump ball, so possession arrow goes right back to the Indians. Watrick with the basketball for the Indians. No score. Off to the right wing to Bradshaw. Now up top to Doherty, over to McCracken. McCracken up top to Coombs. Coombs against this zone. The Indians struggled against the Opie zone Saturday, so we'll see what kind of adjustments, if they had make any adjustments as far as shooting or try to get some penetration against this zone. Cross-court pass over to McCracken. And a bad pass inside into traffic, and it's a turnover on the Indians right in the heart of that zone. Oswego with the basketball. McNichol gets it off the Vale. Vale now to Dennison. Motion offense by Oswego, and a turnover on a bad pass, trying to hit the back cut. Indians need to push down hard against this zone. Watrick with the basketball, swings it over to McCracken. McCracken holds it, swings it up top to Bradshaw. Bradshaw over to Watrick at right wing. Watrick back up top to Doherty. Over to McCracken. McCracken looks inside. Nobody there. Drills towards the top of the key. Reverses it over to Watrick. Now to Bradshaw. Bradshaw to Watrick up top to Doherty. Doherty swings it around opposite side. Patient offense by the Indians. Bradshaw with it. Now Watrick, three-point shot from the baseline. Long, no good. Rebound comes to Oswego. And that's going to be a foul on Taylor. Watrick on the back pressure. First team foul on the Indians, first on Watrick.
Yeah, that's what the Indians are going to have to do. They're going to start taking some of those outside shots, try to draw that zone out, and try to open up something underneath.
Vale with the basketball for Oswego. Watrick picks her up into the lane, kicks it outside on the right side to McNichol. McNichol up top to Dennison. Now Shedrick with the basketball. Kicks it back out, talk to McNichol. McNichol now, a three-point shot on the way, is in there by Ryan Shedrick. Oswego has a 3-0 lead. 3-2 zone by the Indians. Claire Bradshaw with the basketball. Up top to Doherty. Swings it around to McCracken. McCracken holds. Now she dribbles to the top of the key. Swings it to Bradshaw. Now back up top to Watrick. Now over to Coombs. Coombs holds it at the right wing position. Now to Doherty. Off to the baseline to Bradshaw. Bradshaw drives into a double team. Kicks it out to Coombs. Coombs loses it. Three-point shot top of the key by McCracken. No good. Rebound controlled by Oswego. Shredrick with the basketball for Oswego. Top of the key. She kicks it out to Dennison. Dennison back to Shedrick. Shedrick holds it at the left elbow. As she gets it off too long. Now a pass inside, partially blocked by Doherty. Rebound Coombs. Works it ahead to Bradshaw. Bradshaw drives into traffic. Kicks it out to Watrick. Now back to Bradshaw. Sets her feet. Three-point shot on the way. Good! Claire Bradshaw ties the score at 3. 4:37 left to go here in the first quarter. 3-3. Vale with the basketball. Bumps into Watrick, no call. Now kicks it up top to Dennison. Dennison cross-court pass over to Vale. Vale drives the baseline all the way in. Shot up, no good. Late foul. And it's going to be on Coombs, and that's going to send Vale to the line to shoot 2. First foul on Katie, second team foul on the Indians. First shot on the way, free throw no good, as Struthers and Hutcherson checks into the ball game for Watrick and McCracken. Vale settles in for her second. It's on its way and in there. Oswego takes a 4-3 lead over the Indians. Emily Hutcherson in the ball game with the basketball. Feeds it off to Struthers. Struthers up top to Bradshaw. Over to Doherty. Doherty holds it at left wing. Now up top to Coombs. Back to Struthers. Struthers drives towards the baseline. Kicks it out to Bradshaw. Bradshaw dribbles to her right. Gets it stolen away on a bad pass, trying to get back up to Hutcherson. Vale with the basketball, crosses over against Hutcherson. Left-hand layup, no good. Rebound to Oswego. And that's going to be knocked out of bounds by the St. Paul Indians. It'll stay with Oswego. 3:51 left to go in the first quarter. 4-3, Oswego up by 1. Ball swatted out of bounds by Claire Bradshaw. It'll stay with Oswego under their own basket as Dennison set to put the ball in play for Oswego. Pass up deep. Oh boy, that was almost a back court as she touched it into the front court. Carried her momentum into the back court. No call. Long with the basketball. Now Shredrick. Shredrick's going to be bumped by Hutcherson. And that's going to be the third team foul on the Lady Indians. As number 30 for Oswego checks in Phillips, the junior. She checks in for Shredrick. As Oswego basketball under their own rim. Dennison with the basketball, looking to put the ball in play. Looks. Now lobs it up top to Phillips. Phillips feeds it back to Vale. Vale crosses over against Hutcherson. She feeds it back to Phillips. Now into the lane. Now back out to Vale. Top shot on the way, no good. And it's going to be knocked out of bounds. It's going to go to St. Paul, out on Oswego. And it'll go back to the Lady Indians.
The Indians get the ball down there on offense this time, Dan. I like to see them have some movement on the players. They're moving the ball around the outside, but it seems like their feet are all planted. Just there's nobody moving.
Hutcherson with the basketball, feeds it over to Struthers. Struthers, as Bradshaw loses it out of bounds, and it's a turnover on the Indians, goes right back to Oswego.
It's the third turnover on the Indians in this first half. Lady Indians from St. Paul.
Frederick checks in for Vale for Oswego. Shredrick with the basketball, crosses over with Hutcherson. Now Hutcherson swats at it, almost to back court as Dennison ends up close to the half-court line. Phillips with the basketball. She picks up her dribble. She feeds it off to McNichol. Now back up top to Phillips. Phillips crosses over against Doherty. Now over to the corner to Shredrick, I believe. Yep, Shredrick with the ball, guarded by Hutcherson. Hands off to Phillips. Ball's loose on the ground. At least Doherty comes out there with it. And she loses it out of bounds.
Keep the handle on it.
And it goes right back to Oswego as Elise Doherty couldn't get a handle on it as Katie Carter comes to the scores table for the Lady Indians as well as Watrick. 4-3. Oswego up by 1. 2:38 left to go in the first. Now a deep pass down into the corner to Long. Long back up top to Phillips. Phillips swings it over to Dennison. Dennison
pushed off, yeah.
As it's not just Dennison, also Vale gets her left arm out there and creates a little space too. We'll see if they will call that eventually. Oswego up by 1, 4-3, 2:29 left to go here in the first period. Pretty quiet first period offensively, especially by the Lady Indians. The zone has been the nemesis for the Indians as they're unable to get the ball inside. They're inside the Coombs as they speak. Shot up, no good. Gets her own rebound. Put back, no good. Gets her own rebound again, and this time she's fouled, and they're going to call it on the floor. So it's going to be St. Paul's basketball under their own rim. Watrick set to put the ball in play. Feeds it into Hutcherson. Hutcherson in the lane. Partially blocked shot. No foul called. And it's going to go back to Oswego. Boy, the Indians can't get a foul call on a shot. As Vale brings the ball back down for Oswego. Feeds it off to Phillips. Phillips swings it up top to McNichol. McNichol over to the left wing to Long. Long holds it. Looks. Now steal. Katie Carter with the basketball. She comes down off the right side. Layup. Good by Carter. The Indians take a 5-4. St. Paul takes a 5-4 lead over Oswego. Phillips with it. Feeds it to Vale. As McCracken comes back to scores table for the Lady Indians. Ball is at the left wing to McNichol. Shot up. Now there's another foul call. I think that's going to be the second on Coombs with 1:31 left to go in the first. Fourth team foul on the Indians, second on Katie Coombs, and that's going to send McNichol to the line to shoot 2. First free throw is in and good as McCracken checks in for Coombs. Second free throw on its way. Long, no good. Struthers with the rebound. Struthers pushes the ball down the left-hand side, all the way in the lane. Shot up good. Good job by Emerald Struthers, taking it right to that zone. It gives the Indians a 7-5 lead. 1:20 left to go in the first. Vale with it, feeds it back to Phillips. Now the ball's tipped up in the air, ends up in Oswego Shredrick's hands. Now Watrick with the steal. Watrick pushes it down the left-hand side, feeds it back to Struthers. Layup no good. Rebound comes to Vale for Oswego. Now off to the corner to Phillips. Thought about the three. Now she's going to travel. She jumped her feet together. .2 left to go in the first. 7-5. Indians at St. Paul up by 2. Watrick over to Carter. Up to Hutcherson, top of the key. Hutcherson into the lane. Kicks it down to the corner to Carter. Back to Struthers. Up top to McCracken. Over to Watrick. Watrick cross-court pass. Over to Hutcherson. Sets her feet. Three-point shot on the way. Off the rim. No good. Rebound to Oswego. Rebound to McNichol. McNichol kicks it back to Phillips. Back to McNichol. Three-point shot by her left wing. Off. No good. And that's going to be on Sydney McCracken. That's going to be the 15th foul on the Indians. First on McCracken. Oswego basketball under their own rim. Cross-court pass from Vale all the way across to Long. Now up to Phillips. Phillips back to Vale. Vale dribbles with her left hand. Now back to the right. Now back to the left. Double teamed in there. Gets ball's loose on the floor. Ends up in Oswego's hands. Now into Vale. Shot up. No good. Rebound comes to the Indians. It's going to be a jump ball. Now they're going to wave it off. So we'll see if it ends up being a jump ball or not. As the end of first quarter, 7-5. St. Paul up by 2. We'll be back. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. Let's St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas, where St. Paul leads 7-5 at the end of the first quarter. Mike, they call a jump ball and then they wave it off, and there were 7/10 of a second left on. The clock ran out and they waved the jump ball off. If it's a jump ball, it's a jump ball. Period.
Right.
Not end of story.
Coach Burke was asking the official during the time or during the change of quarter too, and I don't know. I couldn't see what the answer was, but I know the possession arrow is pointed.
Well, I know Oswego's going to end up with the basketball, so by rights, That should have been Oswego's possession with less than a half second left on the jump ball possession. They should have made him inbound it, put a half second on the clock, and then switch it. It should be St. Paul's ball to start the second quarter. Instead, it's Oswego's basketball. So Oswego getting a little bonus coverage here. Vale with the basketball, holds it up top. Feeds it off to Long. Long to Shredrick. Shredrick guarded by Doherty. She picks up her dribble. Now she gets it off. Backdoor cut by Phillips. Layup good. Just like that. Possession error don't mean much, but it ends up being a score for Oswego. They tie the score at 7. Back to Bradshaw. To McCracken. Over to Doherty. Doherty to Watrick. Watrick holds it. Over to Carter. Carter back over to Watrick. We're tied at 7. Watrick got her shot blocked, and it's going to be a foul on Taylor Watrick, I believe.
Yep, and it is. It's her second.
And that's the 6th team foul on the Indians, just 2 on Oswego. And that's the second on Watrick, and she'll have to come to the bench. 7-7, 7:15 left to go here in the second period. Vale with the basketball. Picked up out there by Hutcherson. Loses her footing. Now she picks up her dribble. Now backdoor cut. Layup no good. Rebound comes out to Hutcherson. Hutcherson all the way down. Euro step. Layup too hard. No good. Rebound comes to Oswego to Long. Long feeds it back to Vale. Emerald Struther comes to the scores table for the Lady Indians. Now Shredrick with the basketball. All the way in. Shredrick, no good on the shot. Rebound comes to McNichol. Shot on the way, no good. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. St. Paul Indians not doing a good job on the boards, blocking Oswego out.
No, there was 3 Lady Indians at St. Paul under the boards. You're going to call that on Katie Carter. That'll be her first.
McNichol to the line to shoot 2 as Emerald Struthers checks into the ball game for Katie Carter. As McNichol lines up for the second, it's Long, no good. Rebound comes to Hutcherson. Hutcherson brings the ball down to the center of the court, all the way in, shot up on its way, no good. No rebounders against that zone. Everybody out in that 4 game out wide. Vale with the basketball. Vale feeds it off to Dennison. Dennison over to Shredrick. Shredrick drives towards the baseline, cut off there by the Indians. Now back up top to McNichol. McNichol into the lane, feeds it to Vale. Shot on the way, it's a 3, it's off, and it's going to be back into Oswego's hand to McNichol. McNichol's shot no good. Struthers with the rebound. Struthers for the Indians brings the ball down the court now. Crossed half court, feeds it off to McCracken. 5:56 left to go in the first half, tied at 7. Bradshaw with it, feeds it to Struthers. Struthers dribbles to her right, picks up her dribble, now in a little bit of trouble, feeds it back to McCracken. Still a zone defense applied by Oswego. 3-point shot, Claire Bradshaw, no good. Needs a follower shot. Shredrick with the basketball for Oswego. She feeds it off to Dennison. Dennison back to Shredrick. Shredrick up by the timeline. Feeds it off to Dennison. Boy, there's a travel.
She's done that twice now. Catch the ball, take a couple steps before she dribbles.
Now Vale with the basketball. 5:17 left to go here in the second, tied at 7. McNichol crosses over, drives towards the baseline, kicks it back to Vale. Vale drives towards the center. Now steal by by Hutcherson. Hutcherson to Doherty, back to Hutcherson, layup good. Good job by the Lady Indians working together there. Phillips comes to the scores table for Oswego. St. Paul leads 9-7, 4:54 left to go here in the second period. Vale with the basketball against Hutcherson, drives to her left, shot up, no good, short. Hutcherson with the rebound. Hutcherson feeds it off to at least Doherty. Doherty dribbles down the left side, cut off by Shredrick. Feeds it back up top to Hutcherson. Now to Bradshaw. 4:34 left to go in the first half. 9-7, Lady Indians up by 2. Hutcherson with the basketball. Feeds it up top to McCracken. McCracken back to Hutcherson. And a steal on a lazy pass by Emily Hutcherson. All the way down is McNichol. She scores and she's fouled. Watrick and Coons both come to the scorer's table, both with 2 fouls, so 4:16 left to go in the second period. Score is tied at 9, and McNichol goes to the line to try to complete the 3-point play.
When St. Paul's on offense, they only have 1 player inside the 3-point line. Everyone else is outside.
On its way, no good, too hard. Oswego gets the rebound. The Indians not able to block out. McNichol back with the basketball. Back to Vale. Vale to Phillips, 3-point shot, off, no good. And at least Doherty saves it right back into Phillips. Backdoor pass, layup good. 11-9, Oswego leads by 2. 3:52 left to go here in the second period. Watrick to Doherty. Doherty up top to Struthers. Struthers to Bradshaw. Bradshaw up top to Watrick. Now over to Coombs. Coombs held awful quiet here tonight. Unable to get anything going against the zone. All the way down, Bradshaw throws up a shot. She's going to be fouled. She's going to go to the line and shoot 2. Oswego up by 2, 11-9. 3:32 left to go here in the first half.
Be the first free throws of the game for St. Paul.
Bradshaw settles in at the line. Shot on its way, in and out, no good. Bradshaw at the line for the second. It's on its way off, no good. Long, Phillips with the rebound. Phillips feeds the ball down the court to Vale, back to Phillips. Phillips up top to McNichol. And another foul on the floor. 19 fouls on the Lady Indians, 3 on Oswego. And that's going to send McNichol to the line to shoot the front end of a 1-and-1. First foul on Claire Bradshaw. Free throw in and out, no good. Elise Doherty with the rebound. Feeds it ahead to Watrick. Watrick sets the offense back up. Over to Struthers, now to Bradshaw. Bradshaw drives the baseline. Floater on the way, no good. Rebound comes to Oswego. McNichol with the basketball. Indians just one and done against that zone. They can't get anything to fall, and they trail 11-9. 3:03 left to go in the first. Phillips back to Vale. Vale drives the baseline, and another foul on the floor. 10th team foul on the Lady Indians, 3 on Oswego.
It's going to be another on Claire Bradshaw, her second.
So 2 on Bradshaw, 2 on Watrick, and 2 on Coombs. As Coach Tuck stares up at the scorer's table, or up at the scoreboard, while the ref stands beside him. And his point is, can you call a foul on the other team possibly?
It's not looking that way.
As Vale misses the first, and thank goodness Oswego can't make a free throw in the first half because they've shot plenty of them, and she misses the second, and Struthers with the rebound.
Of course, the difference is Oswego's attacking the basket while St. Paul's content to throw it around outside.
Doherty with the basketball. Over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw holds it 10 feet behind the three-point line, feeds it over to Doherty. Doherty back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw into the lane. Floater on the way. Off the backboard, good. Good shot by Claire Bradshaw. Ties the score at 11. Now Vale with it. Vale goes right past Watrick, and that's going to be another foul. That's going to be a third foul
on Bradshaw.
On Claire Bradshaw. Double bonus.
Well, they called that on Katie Carter. And
she's not in the game.
Katie Carter's not in the game.
But that's all right. We'll take it if that's who they call it on. She hurries up and goes in.
Yeah, he didn't. The official couldn't remember the number. I saw him trying to remember the number, I think.
As now they try to sort it. Out. As Bradshaw now comes out of the game, and now they get that foul on the actual right person.
Tried to sneak one in, but couldn't make it work.
Katie didn't get in there quite quick enough. Third foul on Claire Bradshaw. Scores tied at 11. Vale at the line to shoot 2. No good on the free throw. How's that not over the back? No over the back call, but St. Paul ends up with it. Struthers with it. Now over to Hutcherson. Hutcherson up top to Watrick. Watrick Down to the corner to Carter. Three-point shot off, no good. Vale with the rebound on the weak side. Absolutely no rebounders in there with that 4 game. You take a 3, and there's nobody in there to get it. McNichol with the basketball. Feeds it off to Phillips. 12-11. Oswego leads by 1. Vale, three-point shot off, no good. Rebound comes out to Wartrick. 1:49 left to go here in the first half. Hutcherson all the way into the rim. Euro step, layup, good. Emily Hutcherson gives it St. Paul a 1-point lead, 13-12. 1:40 left to go in the first half. Vale with it. The Vale backdoor cut now lost out of bounds. That was to Dennison. She was open on the cut, but she loses it out of bounds. A turnover against Oswego gives it back to Lady Indians. St. Paul Lady Indians. Wartrick with the basketball for the Indians. 1:28 left to go in the first half. St. Paul up by just 1 point. Hutcherson, bad pass inside. Ball's loose on the floor. Luckily, it goes out of bounds on Oswego. It'll stay with St. Paul. Wartrick set to put the ball in play under their own basket, our own basket, as she gets set. Pass knocked out of bounds by Oswego. Wartrick set to put the ball in play again for the Indians. 1:17 left to go here in the first half. St. Paul up by 1, 13-12. Wartrick with the basketball off the inbounds. Dribbles towards the top of the key and resets. Feeds it off to Katie Carter. Up to Hutcherson. Hutcherson to Struthers. Struthers drives towards the baseline. Now back up, feeds it up to Wartrick. Wartrick up above the timeline, feeds it to Carter. Carter to Hutcherson, over to Struthers. Struthers inside to Coombs, tipped away by Oswego, ends up in Coombs' hands. Now she dribbles inside, layup, no good, but she's fouled.
Good smart move by Katie Coombs to make the move towards the basket. The lane was open, and I think it took her a second to realize it, but she did and went for it.
Coombs settles in at the line to shoot 2. As Phillips comes to the scores table for Oswego. Katie's first free throw right up and through there. Gives St. Paul a 2-point lead as Doherty comes to the scores table. Excuse me, for the Lady Indians. She's going to come in for Taylor Wartrick. Good move by Coach Tuck getting her out of there with 2 fouls. And McCracken comes to the scores table. She'll probably come in for Coombs. If she makes this, she misses it long, but chases down her own rebound. Hutcherson ends up with it. 38 seconds left to go here in the first half. Feed into Coombs. Coombs feeds it to Struthers. Into the lane. Shot up on its way. No good. Katie Coombs with the rebound. Put back good. Good position that time by Coombs. And she gives the St. Paul Lady Indians a 4-point lead, 16-12. Down to the corner, McNichol. McNichol backdoor pass in traffic. It's loose. Phillips ends up with it. Now it's poked away. Now Hutcherson ends up with it. Now Katie Carter with 12 seconds. She loses it. Hutcherson ends up back with it. And now there's going to be a foul on Oswego, but that's just the 5th team foul on Oswego here in the first half. 8.8 seconds left to go in the first half. St. Paul leads 16-12. Plenty of time for the Indians to get a shot off here. Now they give a little full-court pressure. They got a foul to give. The luxury of not very many fouls called on Oswego. And that's going to be an offensive foul on Hutcherson with 8.8 left. And they call her for the push-off.
Hutcherson for pushing off on the inbound play.
(16-12) as Gaiman checks in. That's 2 fouls on Hutcherson, too. 7.8 seconds left to go here in the first half. Oswego basketball. There's offensive foul on Oswego. 16 foul on Oswego. So here we are again as Hutcherson and Wartrick come to the scores table. Full-court pressure applied by Oswego. Next foul on Oswego puts the Indians into 1-1. 7 seconds left to go here in the first half. Wartrick with it. 6. As she goes all the way in. Euro step, layup, no good. Put back. And stripped away from Struthers. And that's going to be the end of the first half. End of the first half score, St. Paul Lady Indians 16, Oswego Indians 12. We'll be back after this 2-minute timeout. You're with St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome to our Labette Health halftime show where St. Paul leads Oswego here at halftime 16-12. And a close game here in that first half, Mike.
Yeah, it was a close game, closer than what the score shows. You know, the Lady Indians from Oswego with that zone defense really shutting down St. Paul's offense with the way that they're running that 4-and-1, having all four offensive players outside the three-point line and just working the ball around looking for the open shot inside with only Katie Coombs in there. Not happening very often for them, not able to get it inside a lot, having to take some of those longer outside shots and try to get some shots in transition. Meanwhile, Oswego, when they come down the floor, are driving the lane and being aggressive towards the basket, and we saw that in the way that the fouls went. With at one time, St. Paul had 10 fouls to only 2, I think, on Oswego. So definitely two different types of games being played by both teams tonight.
St. Paul in their typical man-to-man. Oswego playing a 3-2 zone, and that 3-2 zone has really caused problem for the Indians the last couple games. Opie played a good zone defense too, and Indians with that 4 game unable to connect much from the outside, and that really causes problems because even then when you do shoot from the outside and you don't connect, you don't have any rebounders in there with the 4 guard, and it just pretty much leaves one rebounder in there at the zone, and so the Indians have struggled shooting the last couple games against the zone. Excuse me, but they have fought their way through it, and they come out here with a 4-point victory here in the first half. So all in all, not a terrible first half by the Lady Indians. We'll see what kind of adjustments they make here at halftime as we approach the second half here. It will be St. Paul's basketball to start the second half. You're listening to the Labette Health halftime show. We're going to take another 2-minute timeout. When we come back from that 2-minute timeout, Mike will have all the Labette Health first half stats. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. Mike, what do you got for first half stats?
Yeah, overall shooting, not where you want to see it for the Indians. They only shot 30% from the field. They were 7 of 19 overall, 6 of 14 inside the three-point line for 35%. Outside, they were 1 of 6, only shot 16% outside the arc. So they're going to have to improve on that if they're going to continue to work the ball around the outside and avoid getting it inside to Katie Coombs. Free throws, they were 1 of 4, 25% from the free throw line. Need to get that up too. When they get an opportunity to go to the free throw line, definitely need to convert on those. Individually, for the Lady Indians from St. Paul, they were led by Claire Bradshaw, had a decent first half, and she showed a little bit of aggression, headed to, made some nice drives towards the basket. A couple times couldn't get them to go, but she ended up with 5 points for St. Paul in the first half. Emily Hutcherson with 4. Katie Carter had 2. Emerald Struthers with 2, and Katie Coombs had 3 points for the Lady Indians. As far as fouls go, 3 fouls on Claire Bradshaw. She's the only Indian with more than 2. Watrick's got 2, Coombs has 2, and Hutcherson also with 2. Everyone else 1 or less. So St. Paul going to have to be careful with Claire Bradshaw as we get ready for the second half. Turnover department, St. Paul got them with 5, and Oswego with 6 turnovers, so not a lot of turnovers, which is good. However, St. Paul's man defense usually good for a few more turnovers. I think the key for the Indians there in the second half is going to be to work that ball inside and also try to convert more when they do get the chance for the turnovers, get some points in transition, and try to get outside or inside that zone defense by Oswego.
Just 13 total rebounds by the Lady Indians, St. Paul Lady Indians, 10 defensively, just 3 offensive rebounds in that entire first half. So that just goes to show you only shoot 30% from the field. You really need to get more offensive rebounds than that. The Indians shot 7 for 23 from the field overall, and just 1 for 6 from three-point land, as Mike alluded to. So the Indians going to have to make some adjustments here, play a little better in the second half. They maintain a 4-point lead here at halftime. We're going to take another break. When we come back from that break, we'll have the second half tip for you. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome half to Oswego, Kansas, and we get set for the second half tip. Second half tip, our Labette Health that halftime show is brought to you by Labette Health, and our pregame show was brought to you by Richie's Pharmacy. Our title sponsor is Farmers Bank, and our postgame show will be brought to you by KW Trucking.
Hopefully everyone's being able to tune in on the live stream, getting that up and running tonight. I hope a little better. We've really had some problems with that ever since the Lancer Classic, really. Since then, had some real struggles with some of these metal buildings and not being able to get good service to get that broadcast out. But with any luck, that's working a little better tonight. So if you're joining us on the live stream, we hope you're enjoying it. If you're not, then be sure and look us up, because it looks like it seems to be working like it's supposed to tonight.
It'll be St. Paul's basketball to start this second half. Second half is underway. Thank everybody for listening to our Labette Health halftime show. St. Paul leads 16-12 at the start of this third quarter. Hutcherson with the basketball, dribbles towards the top of the key, reverses it back to Watrick. Watrick looks inside. Cross-court pass over to Hutcherson. Now feed into Coombs. Shot up. Good. And she fouled. Finally, the Lady Indians moved that basketball, reversed it better, got it to Coombs before that zone could adjust. 18-12, 6-point lead for the Lady St. Paul Indians as Katie Coombs settles into line for the and one. On its way in, good. Vale with the basketball for Oswego. St. Paul leads 19-12. Vale guarded by Hutcherson. Picks up her dribble. Now a little double team. Now steal by Doherty. Doherty all the way down. Right-handed layup. No good. Rebound tipped around. Controlled by Doherty. Now Hutcherson, three-point shot, left wing. In and out. No good. And rebound is going to come to Oswego. It's going to be the long for the Oswego Indians. Doherty couldn't convert off the steal on the layup. Shredrick now picks up her dribble. Indians a little more intensity here. Now another steal where the ball's loose on the floor. Ooh, it's going to end up staying with Oswego. That looked to be out on Vale, but apparently Emily Hutcherson got her hand in there. A little more energy here to start second half, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like they get a little more intensity on the part of the Lady Indians from St. Paul here for sure in the second half.
Long now, pass inside to McNichol. Shot on the way, no good. Rebound to the Indians, St. Paul Indians. Watrick all the way down, Euro step layup, good. Coast to coast by Watrick gives the St. Paul now all of a sudden a 9-point lead. Vale with the basketball for Oswego. She loses it on the floor. Now, ooh. That was right in front of you, Mike.
Yeah.
Did that touch the out of bounds line?
Well, I think her hand was out of bounds. Her other hand was out of bounds opposite the ball.
Out of bounds on Emily Hutcherson. Good hustle by her, trying to save that basketball in.
Yeah, it was a good hustle.
Now Vale with it. Double teamed with Watrick. She loses it. Now Doherty comes out of there with it. Now back to Hutcherson. Now Doherty with the basketball. Feeds it back to Hutcherson. Hutcherson up top to McCracken. McCracken reverses it back to Hutcherson. Pass inside to Coombs. Layup. Good.
That's what they need to do is start working that ball inside. They're working around a lot faster than what they were in the first half. You can see that. 23-12, 11-point lead for St. Paul. Timeout. Oswego will be back after this 30-second timeout. Let's St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. St. Paul leads 23-12 on a 7-0 run to start the second half. Vale kicks it out to McNichol. McNichol, ball fake to the elbow, now kicks it out to the right wing, back up top to Shredrick. Shredrick backdoor cut to Long. Long gets all tangled up, and Doherty comes out there with it. Doherty pushes the ball down with her left hand, picks up her dribble, now it's loose on the floor, and it's going to end up in Oswego's hands. Vale with the basketball. Now a whistle. Official timeout.
I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why he stopped play.
I don't know what happened.
Either way, they stopped play. Now a sub comes in. Phillips comes in for Oswego. I don't know if she comes to the scorer's table, but Phillips in for Oswego. Oswego set to put the ball in play by half court. Phillips with it, guarded up top by Watrick, feeds it off to Vale. Vale drives against Hutcherson, kicks out the Long. She loses it. Doherty again with it, and that's going to be a foul on number 12, Dennison, for Oswego.
It'll be the third foul on Denson, and the McNichol also with 3 fouls for Oswego.
Hutcherson set to put the ball in play to Watrick. St. Paul leads 23-12, 5:24 left to go in the third. Emily Hutcherson with it to Doherty. Doherty out to McCracken. McCracken left wing, feeds it up to Coombs. Back over to Watrick. Watrick to the elbow, kicks it out to McCracken. 3-point shot left wing, Long, no good. Vale with the rebound. Vale feeds it to Shredrick. Shredrick guarded by Elise Doherty. Now fed up top to Vale. To Phillips. Phillips drives against Hutcherson. Now feeds it out to Shredrick. Shredrick drives against Doherty. Feeds it, and that's going to be a foul on Katie Coombs as Denson just drove in there wildly, but she got the call. And that's going to be the third foul on Katie Coombs. as Struthers comes to scores table for the St. Paul Lady Indians. Denson at the line to shoot 2, makes her first. As Katie Carter also comes to scores table for Elise Doherty. Denson settles in for her second. On its way and short, barely draws iron. Rebound, Katie Carter. Carter feeds it to Hutcherson. Hutcherson slows things up, walks it across the timeline, feeds it to Struthers. Struthers reverses it up to McCracken. Back to Watrick. Watrick looks inside, holds the ball over her head, up top to Carter. Carter back to Hutcherson, left wing. Hutcherson holds the ball, back up top to Watrick. Long comes to scores table for Oswego. Now Katie Carter, three-point shot. Long, no good. Kind of rushed that a little bit. Shredrick with a rebound on a weak side. Halfway through the third, 23-13, 10-point lead for St. Paul. Shredrick up top to Vale. Vale drives in, kicks it out. Phillips, three-point shot. Long, no good. Rebound on the McNichol on the weak side, and she scores for Oswego. Watrick with the basketball. Up top to Carter. Carter over to Hutcherson. Hutcherson drives the baseline. Kicks it up top to Watrick. Watrick drives in, kicks it out, and she's going to be bumped. And it'll be a foul on Oswego. Second team foul on Oswego. That's going to be on Phillips. As Claire Bradshaw comes to scores table for the Lady Indians. Claire comes back into the game with 3 fouls. Emily Hutcherson's going to get a break. Watrick set to put the ball in play under St. Paul's basket. Feeds it into Carter. Carter to Bradshaw. Back to Watrick. Three-point shot. Long three-pointer. High off the iron. No good. Long with the rebound. Long fields it up to Denson. That's a travel. She didn't call for it. Phillips with the basketball. Phillips to Vale. Vale drives in the lane. And she's going to get fouled by McCracken on the floor. And they're going to give her 2 shots. They are going to give her 2 shots. 8-point lead for St. Paul. 3:18 left to go in the third. Vale at the line to shoot 2. First free throw short, no good.
Well, Oswego shooting a lot of free throws, but they're not getting many of them to fall.
Second shot by Vale on its way and in there. 7-point lead for St. Paul. 3:16 left to go in the third. 23-16. St. Paul Lady Indians up. Now 1-3-1 trap by Oswego. Up top to McCracken. Indians need to move this quick drive in. There you go. Claire Bradshaw towards the rim. Kicks it back out high. Nobody there. And it's McNichol with the basketball all the way down. Layup, no good. Rebound Oswego. Putback is good by Long. 23-18, 5-point lead for St. Paul. Full timeout, Coach Tuck. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. St. Paul out of timeout with the basketball. Now Coombs, ball on the floor, shot up, no good. Knocked out of bounds off of St. Paul. And it'll go back to Oswego. 23-18. St. Paul Lady Indians up by 5. St. Paul started out a lot of intensity in that third quarter, built an 11-point lead, but now it's down to 5. Vale with the basketball, picks up her dribble, and gets it back to Phillips. Phillips, it's going to be a foul on Struthers. The ball kind of up for grabs, but Struthers with a little too much contact on McNichol. 4th team foul on St. Paul, first on Struthers. Gets it into Phillips. Phillips holds the ball up above her head off the timeline. Feeds it back to Denson. Now Vale all the way towards the rim. Shot up, no good. Rebound comes Claire Bradshaw. Bradshaw for St. Paul. 1:40 left to go in the third. 23-18. St. Paul up by 5. Now to the corner. Now into Coombs. Great pass. Good ball movement. Layup good. As the Indians got that zone out of position and regain a 7-point lead. Vale against Watrick. Now the Indians cover. She picks up her dribble. Now backdoor cut by Vale. Slapped away. Carter ends up with it. Carter back to Watrick. Watrick loses it on the floor. McNichol comes out there with it. Now Watrick back with it. She's going to be tripped. Good hustle by Taylor Watrick. She lost it, got it back, lost it, got it back again. And that's going to be on Phillips for Oswego. 4th team foul on Oswego. 2nd on Phillips. Emily Hutcherson comes back to the scorers table for St. Paul. Comes in for Emerald Struthers. Watrick with the basketball, feeds it into Carter. Now back to Watrick. 1:08 left to go in the third. 25-18. St. Paul up by 7. Now here's that 1-3-1 trap. Need to attack that trap as Watrick feeds it to Carter. Carter over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw, and that's a block, and it was a block as Vale went down hard on the floor. 4th team foul on, no, 5th team foul on Oswego. First on Vale. Feed into Bradshaw. Bradshaw into the lane. Shot up on its way. Good off the backboard. Claire Bradshaw. 27-18, 9-point lead for St. Paul. Phillips to McNichol. Now McNichol left alone. Kicks it out. 3-point shot on the way. Off the rim. No good. Watrick with the rebound. Taylor Watrick pushes the ball down the floor. All the way down. Euro step layup. Good. Coast to coast.
Boy, Watrick caught him napping and took advantage of that.
Vale with the basketball. 25 seconds left to go in the third. Vale against Watrick. Kicks it out to Phillips. Phillips against Carter. Now she gets it stolen away by Claire Bradshaw. Bradshaw all the way down. Layup no good. Rebound comes out to Oswego to Long. Long gets it to Phillips. 8 seconds left. Back up top to McNichol. Back to Phillips. Long 3-point shot. Good. And at the end of 3 quarters, 29-21. St. Paul up by 8. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. Let's St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Oh, welcome back. 29-21. St. Paul up by 8. 8 minutes left to go in the ball game. It will be Oswego's basketball to start this 4th quarter. Vale with the basketball for Oswego. She's guarded by Hutchinson. Picks up her dribble now. Gets it off to number 12, Denson. Denson to Shredrick. Shredrick now cut off. A little more intensity by the Lady Indians. And that's going to be a 5-second call. Good defense on the denial by the Lady Indians. St. Paul Lady Indians. And it comes back to St. Paul.
That man defense really starting to work for St. Paul here in the second half.
Hutcherson with it, feeds it off to McCracken. McCracken cross-court pass over to Clara Bradshaw. Bradshaw bounce pass over to Doherty. Doherty, Hutcherson, Bradshaw, Coombs, and McCracken in the game for the St. Paul Lady Indians. Hutcherson with the basketball. A little more extended zone by Oswego. And that's a travel on McCracken. Turns it over back to Oswego. 29-21, 8-point lead for St. Paul. 7:13 left to go in the game. Vale with the basketball. Picks up her dribble. Feeds it off to Denson. Now stolen away by Elise Doherty. Doherty all the way down. Left-handed layup. No good. Coombs with the rebound. Put back no good. Rebound comes out long to Oswego to Denson. She feeds it back to Shredrick. Shredrick backdoor cut to Vale. Layup no good. The rebound Coombs. Coombs feeds it to Hutcherson. Hutcherson crosses over all the way down. Euro step layup good. Hutcherson and Watrick's had some success just driving right through there, Mike.
Yeah, that's that transition baskets that you need to get. It's really helping.
Shredrick with the basketball. Now she's double teamed. She gets it off to Vale. Now everybody regroups. Emily Hutcherson picks up Vale. Vale kicks it out to Denson. Denson guarded by Bradshaw. Now tipped away momentarily. Ends up in McNichols' hand. McNichol all the way across the lane. Tries to shoot. No good. Rebound comes Oswego. Putback is good with Long, and she's fouled.
Not so sure she didn't walk with it, but couldn't see it from where the official was at.
Claire Bradshaw with the foul. That's her fourth.
That's her fourth.
31-23, 8-point lead for St. Paul. Long goes to the line to shoot the and one. It's on its way and Long. No good. Katie Coombs with the rebound. Feeds it to Doherty up to Hutcherson. Hutcherson picks up her dribble. Has nowhere to go now. Back door to Coombs. Layup good. 33-23, 10-point lead for St. Paul. Shredrick with the basketball. Crosses over against Doherty. Now she double teamed. Now Hutcherson comes up with the steal, and it's going to be a foul on Shredrick on Emily Hutcherson.
That's the 9th turnover on Oswego this half.
Carter, Struthers, and Watrick to the scores table for the Lady Indians. Phillips for Oswego. Bradshaw, McCracken, and Doherty out for the St. Paul Lady Indians. On the floor for the Indians, Struthers, Watrick, Coombs, Hutcherson, and Carter. Emily Hutcherson with the basketball, 33-23, 10-point lead for St. Paul. Cross-court pass back to Carter. Carter to the corner to Struthers. Three-point shot on the way. No good. Rebound to Emily Hutcherson. Out to Watrick. Watrick into the lane. Kicks it out to Hutcherson. Hutcherson into the lane. Floater on the way. Good.
4 in a row from the floor for Emily Hutcherson. She's warming up.
Vale with the basketball. Picked up after by Hutcherson. Spins. Kicks it out to Phillips. Phillips picked up by Carter. Carter fixed to Denson. And that's going to be a foul on Taylor Watrick. 15 foul on the Lady Indians. Third on Watrick. Watrick's done a good job of staying out of foul trouble after picking up 2 in the first quarter. Denson, they try to lob it into McNichols, stolen away by Struthers. Struthers slows it up a little bit. Now she kicks it back to Hutcherson. Hutcherson over to Watrick. Cross-court pass over to Coombs. Coombs with the ball fake. And that's going to be a foul on Denson as her and Coombs got tangled up. And that's going to be a 1-and-1 for the Indians.
Fourth foul on Denson.
As Shredrick comes to the scores table for Denson. Coombs at the line. to shoot to 1-1. I believe it is a 1-1. 17 foul on Oswego. 35-23, 12-point lead for Lady Indians. Coombs' free throws through there and good. Gives the Lady St. Paul Indians a 13-point lead. 4:45 left to go in the game. Second free throw on its way. Good for Katie Coombs. 37-23, 14-point lead for St. Paul. Vale with the basketball against Hutcherson. Now she drives into the lane, kicks it out to Phillips. Phillips picked up out there by Carter. Tries the baseline, dribbles back out. Count is on. Good job by Katie Carter. Lob inside. Denson, shot no good. Gets her own rebound. Put back no good. And she's going to go to the line to shoot 2.
Looked like it was all ball, but I think they're going to call
They're going to call it on the floor. They're going to call on the floor.
Okay.
So it's going to be Oswego basketball under their own basket. 16 foul on the Lady Indians as McCracken comes to the scores table, as well as Allie Vale, the sophomore for Oswego. Coombs just picked up her 4th foul. Now they're going to get together and talk about it.
Yeah, the official.
The official he was real clear on it. It was on the floor, pointed out of bounds. And then the coach questioned it. Now the two officials are up top talking about it as they're all set up to inbounds it. But he was perfectly clear about his call. So we'll see what ends up happening here. 4:25 left to go in the game. St. Paul a little better third and fourth quarter here, Mike.
Yeah, they're playing a lot better offensively, especially getting some of those shots to go, making those quick shots. They're going to change the call now and put it on the shot, I guess, give her some free throws.
One official overruled the other after he emphatically said it was on the floor.
Full rank on him.
Yeah, that's a full rank card. First free throw on its way in and out, no good.
Guess the only person to get an official change their mind is another official, huh?
Yes. Long at the line to shoot the second. It gets the roll and it goes in. Timeout, Oswego. We're going to be back after this 30-second timeout. Let's St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. 1 minute, please. Oh, welcome back. Coming out of timeout, St. Paul leads 37-24. 4 minutes left to go in the game. Taylor Watrick in the lane. Kicks it out to Carter. Three-point shot on the way. No good. Emerald Struther loses it out of bounds. It's going to stay with St. Paul out on Oswego. Excuse me. 4:01 left to go in the game. 37-24, 13-point lead for St. Paul. On the inbound, stolen away by Oswego. Now, pass in, loose on the floor. Vale comes out there with it. Well, that's like
a way late call.
Like after she ran past her 15 feet and Vale fell down, and they get Watrick for the call. 17th foul on the Indians, 4th on Taylor Watrick.
The trailing referee, I think he decided nobody else was going to call it. He would. That's why it was so late.
Well, she wouldn't have fell down. If he would have fell down, she wouldn't have called it.
Yeah.
But she fell down, and Taylor had done run past her another 12 feet, and then he finally blew the whistle, and Taylor looked back like, You kidding me? 1-1 on the way off. Nope. Got the bounce, high bounce, and it rolls in. 3:53 left to go in the game. 37-25. 12-point lead for the Lady St. Paul Indians, and Vale makes an 11-point lead. And Oswego's going to take a timeout. We're going to go ahead and stay here, Mike. A pretty good, a little better second half put together by St. Paul.
Yeah, St. Paul playing better definitely here in the second half, and Oswego's been a little bit hot and cold here in the second half and not nearly able to drive the lane and get a lot of those second, third attempts like they have been earlier in the game, and that's to St. Paul's credit. They're able to get in there and get some rebounds. Even on offense, you know, they've been more aggressive towards the basket. They've been able to feed Katie Coombs. She's really come alive here in the second half. Only 3 points, limited to 3 points in the first, but not only has she put some points on the board underneath, she's also made some free throws, so that's really helped St. Paul's offense here in the second half.
Busy schedule this week for Indian basketball. If you want to listen to Indian basketball, you're going to get plenty of opportunity. Thursday night, we travel to Howard West Elk. Friday night, travel to Yates Center. Saturday at home, 6:30 p.m. start, makeup game Altoona. Monday at Jayhawk Land, girls game only, 5:30 p.m. And then we roll right into regionals next week, Mike. Struthers with the basketball coming out of the timeout. 3:47 left to go in the game. And now she dribbles to the top, reverses it back to Hutcherson. A little more aggression come out by Oswego. They stay in a zone, but it's a little more, now they're in a man. So Oswego in a man now. McCracken out to Hutcherson. Hutcherson holds the ball. Into the lane, floater on the way, no good. And it's fought for out of bounds. It's going to be out on Emily Hutcherson. It's going to go back to Oswego. 3:20 left to go in the game. 37-26, 11-point lead for St. Paul. Vale with the basketball for Oswego. Crosses over against Hutcherson. Pull-up shot on the way. Got it to go. Off-balance shot. Doherty feeds it back to Carter. Carter pushes the ball down. Now she pulls back, feeds it to Hutcherson. 3 minutes left to go in the game. 37-28. And now a steal by McNichol against Hutcherson. McNichol all the way down. Layup good. Timeout. Coach Tuck. Full timeout. We'll be back after this 1 minute timeout. Let's St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back. Welcome back to Oswego. St. Paul basketball. 2:27 left to go in the game. 7-point lead for St. Paul. 37 or 37-30. Watrick with the ball, guarded by Vale. Top of the key, man-to-man defense applied by Oswego. Now McCracken with it. McCracken feeds it to Carter. Up top to back to Watrick. Watrick to the left, to the right. Now she drives in against Vale. Pulls back out below the top, above the pine line. Feeds it off to Emily Hutcherson. Back to Watrick. 1:52 left to go in the game. McCracken with the basketball. And McCracken's fouled by Shredrick. She'll go to the line to shoot the 1-1. That's the 18th foul on Oswego. Long checks into the game for Oswego.
A lot of movement under back and forth in the lane by St. Paul on that possession, and they were content to keep it outside, eat up some clock.
McCracken at the line, shoot the front end 1-on-1. on its way and in and out, no good. Rebound. Ooh, boy. They're going to give it to Oswego. Coombs and Long both went for the ball. Coombs retreated. Long just let it bounce out of bounds, and it goes back to Oswego. St. Paul ahead, 37-30, 1:47 left to go in the game. Vale with the basketball for Oswego. Swings it off to Shredrick. Shredrick kicks it out. And that's going to be a travel called on McNichol. And a turnover gives it back to St. Paul.
11 turnovers on this half for Oswego.
Claire Bradshaw at the scores table for the Lady Indians is going to come in for Sydney McCracken. Watrick with the basketball off the inbounds. 1:32 left to go in the game. 7-point lead for St. Paul. Off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw drives the baseline, pulls up, kicks it out to Coombs. Now up top to Hutcherson. Hutcherson, top of the key, picks up her dribble. Now feeds it to the corner to Struthers. Struthers back to Hutcherson. Ahead to Coombs, out to Struthers. Struthers double team down there.
Got to be a foul, doesn't it?
And it is finally a foul called. That's going to send Struthers to the line. Shoot to 1-on-1. 19 foul on Oswego. And that's going to be on McNichol. Her fourth is Struthers. Goes to the line to shoot front end 1-1. Cindy McCracken back to the scores table for the Lady Indians. For Claire Bradshaw. Little offense, defense for the Lady Indians. Coach Tuck and the Lady Indians here as Emerald Struthers at the line to shoot to 1-on-1. Next foul on Oswego put Lady Indians in the double bonus. Struthers misses the free throw. Rebound comes out to Long for Oswego. 1:03 left to go. 7-point lead for the St. Paul Lady Indians. McNichol with the basketball. Top of the key, three-pointer. Off the back iron, no good. McCracken with the rebound. McCracken feeds it back to Watrick. Watrick's going to be fouled, and she'll go to the line and shoot two. Double bonus the rest of the way for the St. Paul Lady Indians. 37-30, they lead by 7. Taylor Watrick settles at the line to shoot two. First free throw on its way short, no good. The Indians not shooting free throws well down the stretch here.
Katie Coombs, the only Lady Indian for St. Paul to make a free throw tonight.
Watrick, second one on the way to Long, no good. Rebound comes to Shredrick for Oswego. Shredrick with the basketball, 45 seconds left to go in the game. Now steal by Watrick. Watrick dribbles back into the backcourt. And she's going to be fouled by Shredrick. She'll go to the line to shoot two. And everybody gets back out of the lane for St. Paul as Watrick will go to the line to shoot the double bonus. St. Paul leads 37-30, up by 7. 37.3 seconds left to go in the game. Watrick's first free throw short, no good. Phillips checked back in for Oswego. As Taylor Watrick settles in for a second, it's short two, no good. The rebound comes to Phillips for Oswego. Phillips all the way in, shot up, good. 29 seconds left to go in the game. 5-point ball game. St. Paul leads by 5, 37-32. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. This is St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Go ahead and stay here in Oswego, Kansas. St. Paul leads 37-32, 5-point lead for the St. Paul Lady Indians. St. Paul just not shooting free throws well down the stretch here, Mike.
No, not being able to make any of those free throws, and those are all important. You got to make those, but luckily they do have a 5-point lead, only 29 seconds left, so they're going to have to hold on here down the stretch.
Oswego lines up in a full court press, coming out of their timeout off the made basket. Hutcherson with the basketball. She runs the baseline, feeds it to Coombs. Coombs double teamed down there in the corner, and she gets it stripped away. It's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow stays with St. Paul. As McCracken and Struthers come to the scores table for St. Paul Lady Indians. As St. Paul set to put the ball in play on the sideline, Emily Hutcherson. Now they just Watrick single man back. She's double team, feeds it up to Hutcherson. Hutcherson runs into Phillips. Now she's going to be fouled from behind. Emily Hutcherson will go to the line to shoot 2 free throws. And that's going to be a foul on Phillips. Double bonus the rest of the way for the St. Paul Lady Indians. 3rd foul on Phillips. Hutcherson settles in at the line to shoot 2. Finally, the Indians make the free throws. Emily Hutcherson makes the front. Second free throw on its way off, no good. So Hutcherson 1 for 2. 16 seconds. Shredrick with the basketball, feeds it to Vale. Long three-pointer off, no good. Coombs with the rebound. And it's going to be a foul underneath against Katie Coombs. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 with 8 seconds left to go in the game. St. Paul with a 6-point lead. Well, not a pretty game, Mike, but it's going to end up being a victory for the Lady Indians, St. Paul Lady Indians.
That's right, not pretty, but it definitely turned out a lot better than it did in Opie. So good news for the Lady Indians starting this long stretch.
Coombs settles at the line, and she misses the first in and out. So I think there's a rule about missing free throws and having to run in practice or shoot free throws or something.
The only good thing is they're playing so many games, they may not have that much practice time. So.
Ooh, you must not be on air, buddy.
Yeah, we're connected. You gonna call it back?
Yeah.
Says we're connected. Working.
Well, St. Paul comes out with a victory here. We're going to be back with our KW Trucking post-game show after this 2-minute timeout. This is St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. We was still hooked up. Mike, don't turn that main up so. No, don't turn it up so. Well, welcome back to our KW Trucking post-game show. Mike, what do you got for final game stats for that girls' nice victory? Girls come out victorious, 39-32.
Yeah, a little better second half by the St. Paul Lady Indians to take care of business there as they finished that game out in good fashion, led by Katie Coombs, who had 15 points on the night. Most of those, 12 of them, in fact, coming in the second half. So good second half put together by Katie with the ball handling underneath the basket, and also strong from the free throw line, where she was 5 of 7 overall from the free throw line. So she was really doing her part as far as offensive goes for the St. Paul Indians. Emily Hutcherson had 11 points for the Lady Indians. Claire Bradshaw pitched in 7. Taylor Watrick with 4. Katie Carter had 2 points, and Emerald Struthers with 2 points for the Lady Indians. In the turnover department, St. Paul ended up with 12 turnovers on the night, as Oswego ended up with 12 turnovers in the second half alone. They ended up with 18 overall on the night. So St. Paul man defense really taking over in the second half. As far as shooting-wise, the Lady Indians really picked it up from what they had in the first half. They were 16 of 44 overall from the field, shooting 36%, 15 of 33 from two-point range, 45%, 1 of 11 outside the three-point line. Not a good night, but they didn't shoot a lot from outside. Really, most of those came in the first half, so only 9% outside the free throw line and 6 of 17 from the free throw line, 35%. So got to improve on some free throws, and that outside shooting against that zone defense is important. You're going to have to shoot it. You're going to have to make those shots.
St. Paul shot a lot better from two-point land, Mike. 15 for 33, 45% from the floor in two-point land. That's not, 15 for 33 for 45%. So that's pretty good shooting from inside the arc. Outside the arcs, which dropped their shoot percentage, just
right.
1 for 11. St. Paul a little better on turnovers here also tonight, Mike. Just 9 turnovers on for the game. That's acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. Ended up with 24 total rebounds, 18 defensively, 6 offensively. So all in all, not the best night for sure, not the best we've seen the St. Paul Lady Indians play, but hopefully they'll get back in the groove after the long layoff. Opie Saturday tonight here in Oswego, and then Thursday night we travel to West Elk. Friday night Yates Center, Saturday Altoona, Monday Jayhawk Land. So they're going to get plenty of time to improve, aren't they, Mike?
Yeah, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to improve, and they definitely should be able to get more consistent. Hopefully it was just that long stretch when we had the weather and the games canceled because of the weather kind of got them off of their chemistry, but with all these games right in a row, they ought to be able to build back. And the way it looks now after the game last week, and then following up here, a little bit better performance, hopefully they'll continue to improve as they move towards regionals.
I want to thank everybody for joining us for our KW Trucking post-game show. So we're going to be back after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Dana, go ahead and make it a 3-minute, would you? Thanks. birthday shout out. You want to sing to your mom on the radio? What? You want to sing to your mom on the radio? Well, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. About 3.5 minutes till tip-off to the boys' action here, where the Lady Indians come out with St. Paul Lady Indians come out with a nice victory here tonight. Emily Richenberg wants to give her mother a shout-out on her happy birthday today. You want to say how old your mom is? You want to say how old your mom is on the radio?
I don't think she was ready for that one, but happy birthday to her mom.
So. Happy birthday to Keisha Richenberg here on her birthday. A good way to spend your birthday is watching basketball here on the court.
That's right.
St. Paul come out with a nice victory Saturday at Opie. Mike, a pretty exciting game to watch. St. Paul led by as many as 10 in that game. End up just winning by 1, but it was a back-and-forth game in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important St. Paul come out of there with that win to show that, you know, even though that they got a little bit down there late in the second half and let Opie get back in there and eat that lead up, they were able to hang on and get out of there with the 1-point victory, and that's got to do nothing but give them some good confidence as they come in here tonight and move into this tough week ahead, where the boys are going to, it's not going to get any easier for them, so they're going to have to really keep the pressure on, and hopefully they gain some confidence, especially in their shooting. I think they shot a little better and played a little overall, all-around better game than what they had, especially the week before, with after a couple of tough losses.
So if you're wondering why just girls action at Jayhawk Lynn just making up that game, I haven't talked to Coach Tuck yet, but I assume it's because of league ramifications and wanting the league title. But the girls are going to end up with a first-round bye in their regional when we start regionals next week. But the boys are probably going to end up being the 3 seeds. They're going to have to play an opening round game at home, I believe, Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So we'll see what happens. So that's why the boys aren't playing Monday night Jayhawk Lynn, because of need to keep their legs fresh for regionals. We're about 1:46 until start lineup and tip-up. We're going to take one more 1-minute break. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Well, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas here as we get set for start lineup for each team. Each team finishing their warm-ups here, huddled around their coaches. Everybody lined up, ready for starting lineups. Mike, what do you look for tonight's action in the boys?
Well, I think it's going to be important for the boys to keep that shooting percentage up, especially if they get opportunities on the foul line. That's going to really be the key, is to make those free throws, take advantage of any of that. And a lot like the girls, I think the transition game is going to be really important for the St. Paul Indians as they take advantage of some of the speed that they have and see if they can convert that into points as well.
St. Paul's going to have a hole to fill tonight. Caleb Lemon's not suited up here tonight. So, and Caleb coming off a heck of a ball game against Opie. So, Adam Albertini, the first starter for St. Paul. Jace Wilson, junior for Oswego. Easton Dent, the young junior for the Indians. And number 4, Braden Lewis, the sophomore for Oswego. Third starter for the Indians is senior Colin Carlson. Colin logging some great minutes the last few games, playing well. And he's going to go up against Peyton Kite, one of the seniors for Oswego. Kenny Haney, number 23, the other senior for the St. Paul boys. And also number 14, Lance Teal. And he is just a sophomore for a young squad for Coach Jeff Schreppel's team. And then last but not least, Chandler Bradshaw, number 24 for the Indians. And Isaac Elliott, a young sophomore. So just one senior on the floor for Oswego, 2 on the floor for the St. Paul Indians.
Yeah, young team for Oswego and St. Paul as well, starting some of the younger guys too. So see how that turns out.
As we get set for tip-off here, I want to thank everybody for listening to our Richie's Pharmacy boys pregame action here. Stick around for our Labette Health halftime show and our KW Trucking postgame show. Our title sponsor this game and every game, and for live stream, is Farmers Bank. Thank Joe and Josh Smith, and all our sponsors for the sport of Indian sports and academics.
You know, one thing, Dan, we're seeing now is Adam Albertini kind of had a little bit of a slump early on in January, but he's come out of that with 14 points on Saturday against Opie, so it'll be important for him to keep that up tonight too.
One thing I see for sure, Mike, is a little bit of height advantage for the St. Paul Indians. Isaac Elliott, the sophomore, is the tallest one on the floor for Oswego. Man-to-man defense applied by the St. Paul Indians. Right wing is Wilson with the basketball. He drives in, gets it stripped away from Bradshaw. Bradshaw feeds it ahead to Albertini. Albertini streaks down the floor to the free throw line. Floater on the way, off the backboard, no good. Gets his own rebound, kicks it out to Bradshaw. Bradshaw jump shot from the elbow, no good. Rebound comes out to Oswego, Braden Lewis. He feeds it ahead to Teal. Teal loses it on the floor momentarily. Tries to lob it inside. Stolen away by Albertini. Albertini streaks down the floor, kicks it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw ball fake into the lane. Floater. Good. St. Paul leads 2-0. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. Feeds it off to the right wing to Kite. Kite into Elliott. Elliott on the floor is going to be fouled on the floor by Dent. It's on the floor. First team foul on Dent. First team foul on either team. Teal set to put the ball in play for Oswego. He feeds it in to Wilson. Wilson feeds it up top to Kite. Kite over to Lewis. Lewis over to the right wing to Teal. Teal holds the ball over his head, whips it back across to Lewis. Lewis guarded by Bradshaw. Lewis hands it off to Kite. Kite down to the corner. Back to Teal. Teal, jump shot on the way, good. As Carlson give him a little daylight, and he ties the score at 2. 6:30 left to go here in the first period. 2-2 is the score. Zone defense now applied by Oswego. Albertini with the basketball. Feed into the lane to Bradshaw. Bradshaw turnaround shot, no good. Rebound, Elliott. Elliott feeds it out to Teal. Teal behind the back dribble against Carlson. Shot on the way, no good. Rebound, Kenny Haney. Haney pushes the ball back down the floor for the Indians. Feeds it ahead to Albertini. Albertini back out to Haney. Haney over to Bradshaw. Cross-court pass over to Dent. Dent loses it. Now he retrieves it, feeds it into Haney. Haney with the ball fake. Floater on the way, good.
Oh, nice move by Kenny Haney.
Back down comes Wilson for Oswego. He feeds it off to Teal. Now in the lane to Elliott, back to Teal, back to Wilson. Wilson, cross-court pass, over to Kite. Jump shot three on the way, no good. Bradshaw with the rebound on the weak side. Bradshaw whips it ahead to Albertini. Three-point shot left wing, off the rim, no good. Backdoor rebound, backside rebound to number 14, Teal. Teal feeds it ahead to Lewis. Lewis inside, stolen away by Albertini. Albertini streaks down the floor, loses it out, or gets still knocked from behind out of bounds. It's out on Oswego, out on Lewis. It will stay with St. Paul. St. Paul basketball under their own rim. Count is on. Gets it into Dent. Dent looks inside, hands it off to Albertini. Albertini up top to Bradshaw as a reset against his zone. 4:57 left to go here in the first period. Now Kenny Haney, floater on the way, good. 6-2. Kenny Haney, a couple ball fakes, getting some open looks here. He needs to keep doing that. Kite with the basketball, feeds it to Elliott. Elliott's floater on the way, good. 6-4. St. Paul up by 2. 4:33 left to go here in the first period. Bradshaw with it. Feeds it over to Albertini. Albertini to Carlson. Carlson into Haney in traffic. Haney, jump shot, turnaround on the way. Can't get the roll. Carlson with the rebound. Put back good. Colin Carlson hard working on the boards. Wilson right back down for Oswego. St. Paul leads 8-4. Lob inside to Elliott. Elliott drives against. There's going to be another foul on Dent on the floor. Second on him. Second team foul on the Indians. As Chase Bradshaw comes to the scores table for St. Paul. He's going to come in for Dent. 4:07 left to go in the first. St. Paul leads 8-4. Number 20 checks in for Oswego. Walker, a freshman. Walker feeds it in up top to Lewis. Lewis, three-point shot on the way. Good. From the right wing, Kite buries a three. And it's 8-7. St. Paul up by 1. Bradshaw with it. He's bumped, no call. Now over to Albertini. Over to Chase Bradshaw. Lob inside to Carlson. Up top to Albertini. Albertini shot from the elbow. Good.
Well, he likes that shot from out there.
10-7. St. Paul up by 3. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. Behind the back dribble, almost swiped away from Haney. Now gets back to Lewis, back up top as they reset. Wilson with it. Wilson to Kite, who just come off of burying a three. Now top of the three-pointer from the top of the key, off the backboard, is good. And Lewis banks her home and ties the score at 10. Chandler Bradshaw, right wing with the basketball. Lob up top to Albertini. Albertini crosses over, feeds to Chase Bradshaw. Three-pointer on the way by him. Good. Wilson with the basketball. 13-10. St. Paul by 3. Bounce pass inside to Elliott. Elliott against Carlson. No good.
Good defense
and he gets
by
his own,
Carlson.
gets the rebound. Feeds it off to Albertini. Albertini off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw in traffic. Gets it ripped away. Possession arrow is going to stay with St. Paul. Teal checks back into the game. He's going to check in for Kite. Adam Albertini set to put the ball in play for St. Paul. Kenny Haney, three-point shot, right wing, off, no good, long. Colin Carlson to rebound, put back no good to Bradshaw, and Bradshaw banks her home from the weak side. Wilson right back down with the basketball. Feeds it off to Teal. Teal looks inside, now feeds it into the lane, and that's, they're going to call a foul on the floor.
Well, I think he had hold of the ball, and so did he.
As number 20, Walker, drove in there, didn't even have the hold of the basketball. And that's going to be on Chase Bradshaw. No, who is that on?
I think it's on Haney.
It's on Kenny Haney. Third team foul on the St. Paul. Three-point shot on the way, no good. Backdoor rebound by Oswego, put back good. St. Paul not blocking out. 15-12, three-point lead for St. Paul. 2:03 left to go in the first. Albertini with the basketball. Feeds it into Haney. Haney up and under, ball fake. Off the backboard, good.
Haney is on Elliott, the sophomore, and he's just taking care of business in the lane there.
Wilson feeds it into Elliott. Elliott guarded by Carlson. Back out to Wilson. Now to Teal. Teal holds it at the right wing position. Now to Walker. Walker drives the baseline, feeds it back up top to Teal. Three-point shot by him. Off the backboard, no good. Albertini with the rebound. Albertini streaks down the floor. Four guys back for Oswego. Feeds it to Bradshaw. Bradshaw jump shot from the baseline. No good. The rebound comes out to Oswego. All the way down comes Lewis, and Adam Albertini steals it away. Feeds it ahead to Bradshaw. Bradshaw loses it to Teal, and it's going to be a foul on Bradshaw. Fourth foul on St. Paul. First on Bradshaw. No fouls called on Oswego yet. Kite checks back in for Oswego, checks in for Lewis. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. St. Paul leads by 5, 17-12. Now Elliott with it. Ball fake up and under, floater on the way. No good. Tipped up in the air, and it's going to be Oswego's basketball. About three Indians stood there and looked at it. Three St. Paul boy Indians stood there and looked at it, and Oswego ended up with a ball in their hand. It's going to stay with Oswego. It's going to stay with Teal. Teal's going to put the ball in play from the sideline for Oswego. And he feeds it up top to Wilson. Murillo comes to the scores table for the St. Paul Indians. Drive across the lane is Teal. Reverse layup, no good. Rebound, Adam Albertini. Albertini comes down the left-hand side. 40 seconds left to go here in the first period. Feed into Kenny Haney. Floater on the way, good. Kenny Haney is just ruling the paint in there. 19-12, 7-point lead for St. Paul. Walker with the basketball. Or Wilson with the basketball, excuse me. With 22 seconds left to go here in the first. Swatted away by Kenny Haney, but it's going to go out on Haney as a tough cross-court pass by Oswego attempted there. Murillo is going to check in for Colin Carlson.
Yeah, Haney keeps that up inside. Look for a good night from him.
Wilson with the basketball. 14 seconds left to go in the first. Wilson crosses over into the lane, kicks it out. Now Kite, long three-point shot. Short, no good. Rebound comes out to Albertini, and it's going to be a foul on the floor on Oswego with 4 seconds as Albertini was streaking down. It was going to be a layup, but he was fouled on the reach as number 10, Hinman, and number 31, Thomas, check in for Oswego, as well as Walker.
First foul on Oswego with 3 seconds left in the first quarter.
3.9 seconds left to go here in the first period. 3 seconds. Albertini with the basketball. Floater from the free throw line. Good. Good shot by Adam Albertini at the buzzer. Gives St. Paul a 21-12 lead after the first quarter. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout with St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Uh, 21-12, St. Paul up by 9. Start of the second quarter here. Oswego basketball. Wilson with it for the Oswego Indians. Guarded out there by Albertini. Man-to-man defense applied by the Indians. Elliott now with it. Tries to force his way inside. Misses a shot. Haney with the rebound. Haney pushes the ball down the floor. Adam Albertini drives in, kicks it back out to Haney. Haney with the ball fake, kicks it back to Albertini. Albertini at left wing. Feed into Haney, and he misses a little floater. Dent with a rebound. Offensive rebound for the Indians. Dent in there with 2 fouls. Going to have to be careful, Mike, not to pick up a third here in this second period, or at least early on in the second period. Albertini sets the offense from the timeline against a zone defense applied by Oswego. Chandler Bradshaw, cross-court pass over to Chase Bradshaw, who saves it inbounds. Bounce pass to Dent at the baseline. Dent kicks it out to Bradshaw. 3-point shot on the way. Off, no good. Rebound, Indians. 3-pointer by Albertini. Off, no good. Rebound comes to Wilson for Oswego. Wilson pushes the ball back down the floor. Drives into the lane. Floater on the way. No good. Dent with a rebound. Dent feeds it out to Albertini. 6:43 left to go in the second period. Albertini tries a bullet pass. No good. Dent saves it. 3-pointer by Haney. In and out. No good. Rebound on the weak side by Teal. Keeping up, Mike?
I'm trying.
Teal down to the corner to Lewis.
Busy,
Lewis back to Teal. Back up top to Kite. A long 3-point shot by him. No good. Rebound Albertini. Albertini slows things down a bit. Now to Kenny Haney. Lob inside to Dent. Boy, good look. But just off of Dent's fingertips. And it's going to be a timeout. It's going to be a 30-second timeout. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Well, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. Oswego basketball out of the timeout. Kite with it for Oswego. He feeds it off to Teal. Teal now to Lewis. Lewis drives, tries to pass it inside, stolen by Albertini. Albertini cross-court pass to Bradshaw. Bradshaw gets it swiped away by Elliott. Elliott back to Albertini with it now. Floater on the way. No good. Haney tips it out. Lewis comes out there with it. Back out to the right, left wing is Teal with the basketball. Cross-court pass to Kite. 3-point shot by him. Long, no good. Bradshaw with the rebound. Chase Bradshaw with the rebound. Chase Bradshaw into the lane, loses it. Floater on the way, no good. Tipped around and controlled by Oswego. Now a foul on Chase Bradshaw. 15 foul on St. Paul. 1 on Oswego. Second, I believe, on Chase Bradshaw. Hayden Smith comes to the scores table for the Indians of St. Paul. 5:20 left to go here in the second period. 21-12. St. Paul by 9. Kite with it. Feeds it up top to Lewis. Swings it to Wilson. 3-point shot by him. Off. No good. And backside rebound over to Bradshaw. Chandler Bradshaw. Gives it off to Albertini. Feed into Haney. Haney in the lane. Left-hand layup. No good. Chandler Bradshaw with the rebound. Turnaround shot. No good. The rebound comes to Oswego. Lewis feeds it ahead to Teal. Bradshaw ends up on the ground. Teal, floater from the baseline, and he gets the bounce. 21-14, 7-point lead for St. Paul. 4:42 left to go in the first. Albertini with it. Back to Chandler Bradshaw. Inside jump shot, no good. And it's going to be a foul on Oswego. Second foul on Oswego, second team foul. First on Teal. As number 20, Walker, checks into the game for Oswego. Wilson comes to the sideline. First break for him. Adam Albertini set to put the ball in play for St. Paul. Albertini looks, feeds it into Bradshaw. He dribbles up towards the top of the key. Feeds it off to Albertini. As the Indians, Coach Wartrick calls a play. Adam Albertini up above the timeline with the basketball. Lob inside to Haney, off the backboard, no good. He misses it, and Kite comes out of there with it. Back to Teal to Kite, now over to Lewis. Lewis, three-point shot, no good. Adam Albertini skies for it, gets it swatted out of his hands. It's going to be out on Oswego and go to St. Paul. Colin Carlson checks back in for Easton Dent, and Wilson right back into the game for Oswego for Lewis, as well as Hinman for Oswego. He comes in for Elliott, his first break of the game. 4 minutes left to go here in the second period. 21-14, 7-point lead for the Indians of St. Paul. Chandler Bradshaw with the basketball, feeds it up top to Albertini. Albertini back to Bradshaw, back to Albertini. Three-point shot, left wing, no good. Oswego skies for the rebound, and Kite comes out of there with it. Kite crosses over into the lane, pulls back, floater on the way, good. 21-16, 5-point lead for St. Paul.
St. Paul needs to get back to what was working.
St. Paul's went a little cold from the field. Kenny Haynes had some good looks in the paint, but he hasn't got the last few to go. Albertini in the lane, floater on the way, wild shot, no good. Oswego with the rebound. Teal all the way down, spins, gets it all tangled up. It has to be a travel. It is a travel. As it goes back to St. Paul. 3:05 left to go in the first half. 21-16. St. Paul up by 5. Timeout. Indians will be back after this 30-second timeout. Into St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back. 3:05 left to go in the first half. 21-16. St. Paul up by 5. They led by as many as 10. Albertini with the basketball coming out of the St. Paul timeout. Over to Hayden Smith. Smith back up top to Albertini. Back to Smith. Back to Albertini over to Bradshaw. Back up top to Albertini. He looks inside. Feeds it to Hayden Smith. Bounce pass inside Carlson. Turnaround shot. Good. Colin Carlson with a nice turnaround shot. Gives the Indians a 7-point lead. Wilson bounce pass inside to Elliott. Elliott double teamed at the baseline. Feeds it back out to Teal. Now lob back inside. Now it's Hayden Smith comes out there with it. Feeds it to Albertini. Albertini streaks down the right side. Good feed to Kenny Haney. And he misses it short. The ball goes through everybody's hands. It ends up in Oswego's hands. All the way down comes Oswego as they pull up. Walker pulls up. Feeds it back to Wilson. Wilson drives into the lane, kicks it back up top. Now Elliott, ball fake, got Carlson off his feet. He misses it. Carlson with the rebound. Hayden Smith feeds it ahead to Albertini. Albertini, cross-court pass to Bradshaw, sets his feet, three-point shot, good. Chandler Bradshaw buries a three from the right wing. Wilson right back down with the basketball. He pulls up, lobs it inside to Elliott. Elliott ball fake, shot up, good. 26-18, 8-point lead for St. Paul. 1:35 left to go in the first half. Dent and Chase Bradshaw comes to the scores table for the Indian boys. Albertini over to Hayden Smith. Back up top to Albertini. Over to Chandler Bradshaw. Bradshaw bounce pass over to Albertini. He loses it. Picks it back up. Feeds it into Carlson. Carlson back to Albertini. Three-point shot. Off, short, no good. Rebound, Oswego. Wilson with it. He streaks down the floor. All the way in, floater on the way, good.
That was a nice move by Wilson.
Nobody stopped him. 26-20, 6-point lead for St. Paul. Adam Albertini, Kenny Haney, floater on the way, and he's fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. 57.6 seconds left to go in the first half. 26-20, St. Paul up by 6.
Only the third team foul on Oswego.
Haney at the line to shoot 2. First free throw on its way, good. As Lewis and Kite check back in for Oswego. Haney settles in for his second. On its way and good. Lewis with the basketball for Oswego. 55 seconds left to go. Albertini out there pestering. Ball's loose, but Lewis ends up with it. Back out top to Kite. Long three-point shot off the backboard is good. 5-point ball game with 40 seconds left to go in the first period. Haney with it. Haney lobs it inside. Nobody home. Kite feeds it ahead to Lewis. Lewis gets it spiked out of bounds. It's spiked by Kenny Haney. And it goes out of bounds. It's going to stay with Oswego. 27.7 seconds left to go in the first half. 28-23, 5-point lead for St. Paul. Feeds it inside to Wilson. Wilson back to Teal. Teal back to Lewis. Back to Teal. Cross-court pass over to Wilson. Almost stole by Haney. Now the ball's loose. Collerson gets ran into.
He ran out of bounds there. No call. Wilson just kind of.
And it ends up out on Carlson after he got ran over by Wilson. And it ends up staying with Oswego, so they get another opportunity. Another three-pointer by Kite. Almost banked another one in. There's another foul on Albertini.
Adam Albertini took one right in the face.
And it's going to stay with Oswego again with 9.4 seconds left to go in the first period. As Albertini got his head ripped plumb smooth off. So Oswego getting plenty of opportunities. Another three-pointer by Kite. Short. Put back no good. Put back no good again. Haney with the basketball. He lobs one up. No good. So we're at halftime. 28-23. 5-point lead for St. Paul. We'll be back with your Labette Health halftime show after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. St. Paul leads here at halftime. 28-23 is our halftime score, up by 5. St. Paul has led by as many as 10 in this ball game, but a couple of fortunate three-pointers banked in by Oswego's cut into this St. Paul lead, and they lead at 5 here at halftime, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a good first half overall for the Indians from St. Paul, and they've kind of kept up the the tempo and everything that they got started in Olpe the other night, which is good to see, especially with them being able to work the ball around a lot better, I thought, and getting inside to Kenny Haney, who's really got an advantage over Elliott here, at least in the first half on the inside. We'll hope that keeps up in the second half, but overall things working pretty well for St. Paul, not turning the ball over too much, and really no fouls called on either team. They're letting them play out there, so that should play into St. Paul's advantage, I think.
Kenny Haney was hot start that first quarter, in that first quarter, and about halfway through that second quarter cooled off for a period, but we'll see if they can't get warmed back up here to start the second half. Mike's going to have all of the first half stats after this next 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. 28-23 is our halftime score. You're listening to the Labette Health Halftime Show. Mike, what do you got for first half stats?
Yeah, first half stats. St. Paul led by Kenny Haney. Haney with 10 points in the first half. Perfect from the free throw line. 2 for 2, 100%. That's the overall free throw shooting for St. Paul, and both by Kenny Haney. Colin Carlson had 4. Adam Albertini with 4. Chase Bradshaw had 3 points, the 1 3-pointer. For St. Paul, and Chandler Bradshaw's brother had 7 for the Indians. Overall, St. Paul 13 of 35 from the field, 37%, 10 of 25 from two-point range, shot 40% inside the arc. Outside the arc, 2 of 10, only 20%, and like I said, 100%, 2 for 2. The only 2 free throws they had in the first half, both by Kenny Haney. So 3 turnovers for St. Paul in the first half as opposed to 7 on the part of Oswego. So St. Paul defense really causing some problems, and they're doing a good job, especially as the quick hands of Adam Albertini, I think, out front, and doing a good job in there creating those turnovers.
We'll see if the Indians can continue to work the ball around, get inside a little bit, as I stated to start the game. Height advantage for the Indian. Elliott, about 6'1". He's the tallest one on the floor. So Kenny Haney and Easton Dent both with a little advantage inside there. And both the Bradshaw brothers with definitely a post height advantage. So Indians ought to need to keep working on the boards, on the rebounds, and on the putbacks, and continue to play hard here as they have in this first half. And they hopefully will come out successful here in the second half. 28-23, 5-point lead for the St. Paul Indians in the battle for the Tom Tom, as the Tom Tom has come back to Oswego, hopefully just for a little while here tonight, Mike.
Yeah, the ladies did their part, and the boys doing the best to do their part, get the Tom Tom back to St. Paul. And right now they can hang on here. In the second half, we'll see what kind of adjustments Coach Treppel makes, but St. Paul in the past had some problems holding on to a lead, but hopefully those problems are in the past, and they'll be able to hold on to it tonight, come out of here and take the Tom Tom home.
Yeah, hopefully it's a two-way bus trip for the Tom Tom.
That's right.
Came here and gets come back home. We're going to be back with the second half, starting lineups for the second half after this last 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Hey, Dana, play the joiner when we come back so I can tell when we're back on. Oh, welcome back to Oswego, Kansas here. St. Paul leads 28-23 here at halftime. As we get set for the second half tip. What are you looking for in the second half, Mike?
I think we'll hopefully going to see St. Paul come out here, and I'd like to see him get a little more chance to get the free throw line. If they can keep moving the ball inside to Haney and keep working him in the lane. He's had good success in the first half. Hopefully that'll continue, but if he can get in there and they keep feeding him and Colin Carlson both draw some fouls and spend some more time on the free throw line, I think that'll help him out, but to also maintain possession, just keep up the pressure and not make any mistakes.
St. Paul basketball to start this second half, and it is underway. 2-3 zone applied by Oswego. St. Paul with the basketball. Adam Albertini up above the timeline with the basketball as the Indians get set. Albertini dribbles to his left, kicks it out to Dent. Dent drives inside. Floater on the way, off the backboard, no good. Rebound comes out to Oswego to Teal. Teal pushes it ahead to Lewis. Lewis picked up out there by Dent, feeds it back up top to Teal, now to Wilson. Wilson with the basketball against Albertini, kicks it back over to Teal. Teal dribbles to his left, now back to his right, crosses over against Bradshaw to the rim, tries to feed it to Elliott, does get it to Elliott, and it's going to be all tangled up. Colin Carlson got all tangled up with Elliott. It's going to be on the floor. First team foul of the second half on either team.
Call that on Carlson. Elliott.
First on Carlson.
It's been at least 3 or 4 seconds in the lane.
Elliott with the basketball, drives against Carlson, loses it on the floor. Now Dent's on the floor after it. Now the ball's loose, and that's going to be a travel on Oswego. And it's a turnover and goes back to St. Paul. Albertini set to put the ball in play into Chandler Bradshaw, just underway here in the second half. Same score, 28-23. Albertini with the basketball, feeds it off to Dent. Dent to Albertini, over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw back up to Albertini, back to Chandler Bradshaw. Bradshaw, three-point shot, left wing, way long, no good. Dent saves it to Albertini. Shot from the elbow, short, no good. Bradshaw, ball's loose on the floor. Dent comes out there with it, feeds it to Haney. Haney's floater on the way, short, no good. Rebound to Oswego. Teal with the basketball, drives into the lane. Boy, just, holy smokes, he just ducked his head, ran over Colin Carlson and gets the bucket to go, and no foul called. 3-point ball game. Albertini comes right back down, scores off the backboard. 30-25. St. Paul up by 5. 6:23 left to go in the third. Tight. Going to get tripped up by Colin Carlson. Second team foul on the Indians. Second on Carlson. Indians tried a little full court pressure off the make. Oswego gets the foul called. So Teal is going to put the ball in play for Oswego. Feeds it into Wilson. Wilson to Kite to Lewis. Swings it around back to Teal. Teal looking in for Elliott. Back up top to Wilson. Wilson to Kite. Feeds it into Elliott. Elliott spins against Carlson. In traffic, gets it swatted away by Bradshaw. And it ends up in Kenny Haney's hands. Haney comes down with the basketball. Crosses over. Floater on the way off the backboard. No good. Chandler Bradshaw put back. No good. The Indians cannot make a shot close to the rim. Wilson all the way down with it. Floater. Wild shot. Goes up and in. It's a 3-point ball game. Dent with the basketball, 30-27. St. Paul up by 3. Cross-court pass over to Bradshaw. Bradshaw all the way in, and he's fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. He's fouled by Kite. Or no, by Elliott, his second.
I thought it was Kite, too.
As Bradshaw will go to the line to shoot 2. Chandler Bradshaw. 5:27 left to go in the third. 3-point lead for St. Paul, 30-27. Bradshaw's first free throw, in and out, no good.
Not a good time for St. Paul shooting to go cold.
As he settles in for his second, St. Paul with a 3-point lead. Second one on the way, in and out, no good. Missed them both. Elliott with a rebound for Oswego. Kite feeds it ahead to Teal, and now it's a steal by Albertini. Albertini pushes the ball all the way down. Float, crazy shot on the way. No foul again. Kenny Haney with the rebound. Put back good, and he's fouled. Albertini couldn't get a call, but Haney on the putback did. He makes it, and the and one. 32-27, 5-point lead for St. Paul. Kenny Haney at the line to shoot the and one. It's on its way and in there and good. Full court pressure applied by the Indians. Teal set to put the ball in play. Dent with a steal. Feeds it back to Haney. Haney in the lane. Turnaround floater. No good. Bradshaw put back good. Now timeout Oswego as St. Paul coming out with a little pressure. And they cause a turnover and lead 35-27. We'll be back after this 31-minute timeout. You're in the St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Just make it a 30-second, Dana. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. 35-27, 8-point lead for St. Paul. And Coach Schreppel, Oswego coach, calls a timeout, trying to make an adjustment against the St. Paul pressure. See if St. Paul stays in this full court pressure. 2 team fouls on each team. We're about halfway, 5:05 left to go here in the third. St. Paul will come out with a little more pressure as Kenny Haney is on Teal on the basketball. Back deep for the Indians is Colin Carlson. Lob ahead to Wilson, and Dent swats away, but ends up right back in Wilson's hand, and steps out of bounds is Lewis. After the ball went to him, he stepped out of bounds. A turnover on Oswego.
That's 4 turnovers on Oswego here in the third quarter.
Walker checks in for Lewis, the sophomore. Freshman for a sophomore. Chandler Bradshaw feeds it back into Albertini. St. Paul leads 35-27. Dent to Albertini to Bradshaw. Bradshaw holds it the left wing position. Back up top to Albertini. Back over to Bradshaw. He passes on the 3. He was standing there wide open. Baseball pass over to Albertini. 3-point shot. Short. No good. Rebound to Wilson for Oswego. Wilson all the way down. Layup no good. Rebound Bradshaw. Bradshaw feeds it ahead to Albertini. Albertini streaks down. Feeds it to Haney. Layup good. Wilson comes back down with the basketball. Over to Teal. Teal to Wilson. Wilson down to the corner to Walker, who just checked in the game. Walker back up to Wilson as Oswego slows things down here. We're halfway through the third quarter. St. Paul leads 37-27, up by 10. Off to Wilson at left wing. Lob inside to Elliott. Elliott tries the weak side, swatted away by Albertini, but it ends up in Teal's hands. Back up top to Kite. Kite to Wilson, drives the baseline, layup good. Good move by Wilson.
Wilson pretty quick under there.
8-point lead for St. Paul boys. Albertini with the basketball. Feeds it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw back up top to Albertini, over to Dent. Dent to Carlson, tries to feed to Haney, gets it to him. Haney circles around in the lane, feeds it back to Colin Carlson. Jump shot, good on the way. Little 10-footer. Good shot by Colin. 39-29, 10-point lead for St. Paul. Wilson in the backcourt. St. Paul in a little full-court pressure. Now it's going to be a steal by Haney. And that's going to be the third team foul on St. Paul's, second on Haney. 3:16 left to go in the third, 39-29, 10-point lead for St. Paul. Feed ahead to Elliott. Now to Teal. Teal circles back out, looks inside. Now swatted away by Albertini, saved back inbounds to Teal, lob inside, stolen by Carlson. He feeds it back to Haney. Haney comes down the right side, feeds it back up top to Bradshaw. Chandler Bradshaw with the basketball. No subs in the quarter so far by the St. Paul Indian boys. Whole way so far. Haney, 10-foot jump shot, good from the baseline, left wide open. 41-29, biggest lead of the game for the St. Paul boys. Teal with it. Turnover to Albertini. Now the ball's loose on the floor. Wilson comes out there with it. Ooh, and Colin Carlson ends up at Wilson's legs, and it's going to be a foul on Colin as he was diving for the basketball, slid across the floor, ended up in Wilson's legs. 5th team foul on the Indians, 3rd on Colin. 2:29 left to go in the third. 12-point lead for St. Paul. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. Albertini picks him up. Crosses over to his right, feeds it back up top to Teal. Teal back to Wilson. Wilson to Kite. Kite drives to the right. Ooh, tries to throw a shot up. Is that Colin's 4th foul?
Yep, they're going to call that on him. That's his 4th.
And Colin Carlson's just picked up his 4th foul. 5th team foul on the Indian boys, St. Paul Indian boys.
All 4 of Colin's fouls coming this quarter.
Kite goes to the line to shoot 2 as Chase Bradshaw comes to the score table for St. Paul. Kite made the first. He lines up for his second as Bradshaw checks into the game. Second is right up and through there. Albertini with the basketball for the Indians. Feeds it off to Chandler. Bradshaw back up top to Albertini. Now back to Bradshaw. Now to Dent. Jump shot from the baseline. Long, no good. Backside rebound to Teal. Teal back to Wilson. Now to Kite. 3-point shot from the right baseline. Can't get it to go. Kenny Haney with the rebound. Euro step, layup. No good. Chandler Bradshaw rebound, put back good. 43-31, 12-point lead for the Indians. Wilson back with the basketball. And another foul on St. Paul, 6th team foul. And that's going to be the 3rd on Haney. So Kenny Haney just picked up his 3rd. 1:34 left to go in the 3rd. 43-31, St. Paul leads. Lewis feeds it to Kite. Cross-court pass over to Teal. Jump shot from the baseline on its way. No good. Haney with the rebound. Feeds it out to Albertini. Albertini comes down. Now he slows things up. Now he crosses over, goes towards the rim. Good feed to Dent, and he scores. Now ball's loose. Bradshaw comes out there with it. Now Albertini tries to feed it back to Chandler Bradshaw, and he's fouled by Teal. 1:06 left to go in the 3rd. 45-31, 14-point lead for St. Paul. This pressure causing a little trouble for Oswego. And it's going to be a timeout for Oswego. Full timeout. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout. This is St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back. Coming out of the timeout, St. Paul basketball. Chandler Bradshaw set to put the ball in play. 1:06 left to go in the 3rd. St. Paul leads 45-31, up by 14. Their biggest lead of the game. Bradshaw with the basketball. Dribbles up above the timeline. Feeds it to Albertini. He's just going to stand out here and hold it for the last shot of the 3rd quarter. Back to Hayden Smith. Over to Chandler Bradshaw. Cross-court pass.
Oh, bad pass.
Gives it back Albertini to Dent, and Dent's fouled. lazy pass by Chandler Bradshaw. Tried to baseball pass clear across that zone when Oswego was just standing back there in the zone. And you know, Coach Watrick was wanting to go for a last shot here. Ended up in Albertini's hands. He fed it to Dent. Dent got fouled as he went to the basket. Dent, the lefty, makes the first free throw. .40 seconds left to go in the third. Dent makes both free throws, 48-31. Wilson with the basketball, pestered up there by Hayden Smith. They look for a trap here. Smith feeds it back to Lewis. Lewis lobs it ahead. Oh. Number 20, Walker, falls down. They're going to get Chase Bradshaw. They're going to get Chase Bradshaw for the foul.
Take a dive on a charge, that's one thing, but whew.
I don't know that he took a dive. He just lost his footing, and the ref, instead of calling a travel, called a foul on Chase, and I don't think Chase even touched it.
It may look good anyway.
Third foul on Chase Bradshaw. That's going to send Walker to the line, shoot the front end of 1-1. 17th foul on the Indians. With 29.5 seconds left to go in the third. Walker's front end of 1-1 on its way in there. 47-32. 15-point lead for the St. Paul boys. The second free throw is off, no good. Bradshaw with the rebound, feeds it ahead to Albertini. 25 seconds left to go. Albertini, good feed inside the Dent. Ball fake and puts it up and in there. Nice feed by Albertini. 17 seconds left to go. Wilson with the basketball, feeds it back to Lewis. Lewis now feed to Elliott. Elliott into the lane, kicks it out down to the baseline. Can't see who it is. Now Wilson with it. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds. Teal with it, and they're not going to get a shot off. It's blocked by Dent. And at the end of 3 quarters, 49-32 is our score. We'll be back after this 1-minute timeout in the St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. Welcome back to Oswego, Kansas. St. Paul boys lead 49-32, up by 17 at the start of the fourth quarter. Oswego will start with possession of the basketball. Lob inside to Elliott. Elliott's shot on the way, no good. Kenny Haney with the rebound. Haney streaks down the right side of the floor, up above the timeline. 2-3 zone applied by Oswego. They've been playing it the whole game. Not much work out of that 2-3 zone either.
No.
Cross-court pass knocked out of bounds by Oswego. St. Paul keeps trying that long cross-court pass through that zone and no success at it. Albertini looked to put the ball in play. Feeds it into Dent. Dent back to Albertini as he resets the offense. Albertini over to Bradshaw at left wing. Just underway here in the third quarter, 49-32. St. Paul leads by 17. Pretty good third quarter put together by the Indian boys, Mike.
Yeah, they're holding it together pretty well here. We get to the end of this game.
Albertini's fouled as he takes a floater, a 10-foot floater, so he'll go to the line to shoot two. They're going to call on the floor
before the shot. Yeah.
So that's the 6th team foul on Oswego. Or is it just the 5th? The 15th foul on Oswego. 17 fouls on the Indians. Into Bradshaw. Bradshaw, long three-point shot. Good. Off the inbounds. 52-32, 20-point lead for St. Paul. 7:03 left to go in the game. Wilson with the basketball, feeds it off to Lewis, back up top to Wilson, now inside to Elliott. Elliott, the ball fake, shot on the way, no good. Chandler Bradshaw with the rebound. Bradshaw feeds it out to Albertini. Albertini holds the ball, dribbles up by the timeline, feeds it back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw back to Albertini. Over to Colin Carlson, back to Albertini. Back up to Chandler Bradshaw. Over to Dent. Back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw resets up by the timeline. Over to Dent. Back to Bradshaw. Out to Albertini. Albertini dribbles in. 15-footer on the way. Good. 54-32. 22-point lead for St. Paul. 6:11 left to go in the game. Kite, three-point shot.
No,
he makes it, and he's fouled. Not a smart foul by Chandler Bradshaw.
No.
First off, leaving that open to take the three, and he fouls him on the shot, and he makes it. So a rare opportunity by Kite to make a 4-point play. On its way, and good as Kite scores the rare 4-point play. 54-36, 18-point lead for St. Paul. Albertini with it. Now man-to-man applied by Oswego. Albertini to his right, to his left. Tries to lob it inside for Haney. And it's going to stay with St. Paul. It's out on Oswego. 5:49 left to go in the game. 18-point lead for St. Paul. Albertini with the basketball. Feeds it into Bradshaw. A little lazy pass, but Bradshaw ends up with it. Bradshaw towards the rim. Wild shot on the way. Colin Carlson rebound. Put back good, and he's fouled. Colin Carlson really been logging some good minutes for the St. Paul boys here lately, Mike.
Yeah, the last 2 games for sure. He's put in some good time and put points on the board and really been helpful both offensively and defensively.
First time back on the court for a few years for Colin. Played football all the way through. He played basketball as a freshman, but not as a sophomore and junior, but really logging some great minutes. You know you're always going to get all the hard work you can get out of Colin. Bad pass by Haney. Turns it over to Lewis. He misses the layup. The rebound comes out to Adam Albertini. Albertini crosses over against Kite. Loses it. And it gets stolen away. Wilson now with it. Wilson loses it out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Oswego. Pretty ugly last 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
That's 5:20 left to go in the game. 56-36, 20-point lead for St. Paul. Lewis with the basketball. Feeds it back to Kite. 3-point shot by the senior. Off, no good. Carlson tips it out long. Now a steal by Albertini. Layup, good. That's just all hustle by Adam Albertini there. Teal feeds it ahead, out of bounds. It's going to turn it right back over to St. Paul as Hayden Smith and Chase Bradshaw check into the game for St. Paul for Colin and Chandler Bradshaw.
St. Paul got to keep their focus now. That's the biggest thing. They can't get comfortable with that lead.
Walker checks in as well as Thomas, the freshman for Oswego. 5:04 left to go in the game. 58-36, 22-point lead for St. Paul. Chase Bradshaw with the basketball. Feeds it to Dent. Dent's going to walk with the basketball. Turn it right back over to Oswego. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. Feeds it off to Thomas. Thomas back up top to Wilson. Wilson off to Teal. Shot on the way, no good. Rebound, Kenny Haney. Haney behind the back dribble. Kicks it off to Chase Bradshaw. Bradshaw dribbles, resets things back up towards the top of the key. Kicks it off to Albertini. Kite comes back to the scores table for Oswego. Albertini up above the timeline with the basketball. Screen set by Dent. Adam loses it for a minute. Now he tries to lob it up to Hayden Smith.
Albertini getting tired. He might need a break.
Turnover. Now double team in the corner on Oswego. He gets it back to Wilson. Wilson comes across half court. Halfway through the fourth quarter. 3-point shot top of the key. Good by Wilson. 58-39, 19-point lead for St. Paul. Albertini with the basketball, feeds it off to Chase Bradshaw. Bradshaw kicks it out to Hayden Smith. Hayden Smith crosses over, kicks it out to Bradshaw. Bradshaw into Dent. Dent shot no good, but he's fouled and he'll shoot two. Easton Dent will go to the line to shoot two. Easton settles in. First free throw in and out, no good. As Dent will settle in for his second. Kite checks back into the game for Oswego. 3:33 left to go in the game. Dent's second free throw goes in, rattles in. 59-39, 20-point lead for St. Paul.
3 of 4 from the free throw line tonight, Dent.
Kite lobs it into Elliott. Elliott, turnaround shot, no good. Backside rebound goes to Oswego. Put back off the backboard and good. Walker with the points for Oswego. 59-41, 18-point lead for St. Paul. Chase Bradshaw with the basketball. Bradshaw feeds it off to Hayden Smith. Smith crosses over to the free throw line, all the way into the rim. And out of bounds. Is going to be out on Hayden Smith. And it goes back to Oswego. Wilson with the basketball for Oswego. Picked up out there by Albertini. Kicks it off to Kite. Kite back up top to Wilson. Three-point shot by Wilson. Long, no good. Tipped around, knocked out of bounds. Going to be out on Oswego. It's going to go back to St. Paul. 2:39 left to go in the game. 59-41. 18-point lead for St. Paul. Adam Albertini with the basketball for the Indians with 2:30 left to go in the game. Hayden Smith with it now. Smith holds. Feeds it back to Albertini. It's tipped away and stolen by Wilson. Layup, no good. Hayden Smith runs clear into the backboard and misses it. Rebound comes out to Hayden Smith. On the putback was no good by Wilson. Smith with the rebound. Up top, Chase Bradshaw. Another bad pass. Turns it right back over. Layup is good by Thomas. 1:55 left to go in the game. 59-43. 16-point lead for St. Paul. Smith with the basketball at right wing. Good give and go to Haney. Good pass from Smith to Haney. Haney scores it. 18-point lead for St. Paul. 1:35 left to go in the game. Walker with the basketball. Long three-point shot. No good. Shot put up by Thomas. Albertini brings the ball back down the floor. Minute 20 left to go in the game. 61-43. Is Albertini up above the timeline with the basketball. Lobs it into Haney. Haney turnaround floater, good. I'm going to have a rotation timeout, sub timeout, with a minute 3 left to go in the game. 20-point lead for the St. Paul boys. The battle of the Tom-Tom is going to stay with the St. Paul Indian boys here as Haney and Albertini check out of the game.
Boy, Haney and Albertini both played a lot of minutes in this game. They got to be worn out, but it was all good minutes, especially Kenny Haney. Well, I haven't counted it up yet, but he had a good night tonight.
Austin O'Hara checks in for Easton Dent, as well as Peyton Norris checks in for Chandler Bradshaw. Oswego basketball here with 1:03 left to go in the game. 20-point lead for St. Paul. Landis with basketball for Oswego. He feeds it off to Hinman. 3-point shot on the way, no good. Rebound, Austin O'Hara for the Indians. Feeds it off to Hayden Smith. Smith off to Peyton Norris. O'Hara's wanting the basketball. He feeds it off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw top of the key off to Ivan Murillo. 3-pointer on the way, no good. Peyton Norris fights for it underneath the basket. It goes out on Norris, so it'll stay with. Here go to Oswego as Dylan Petty checks into the ball game for Chase Bradshaw. 30 seconds left in the game for the Indians. Hayden Smith, Dylan Petty, Ivan Murillo, Peyton Norris, Austin O'Hara. Oswego basketball, shot on the way, no good. Rebound's going to stay, or it's going to go out of bounds. It's going to stay with. It's going to stay with Oswego as Mason Winter checks into the ball game for the St. Paul boys. Checks in for Hayden Smith. 3-point shot, baseline, no good. O'Hara with a rebound. O'Hara feeds it off to Murillo. 9 seconds left. Murillo back to Mason Winter. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and that's going to be the end of the ball game. Final score, 63-43. We'll be back with final game stats after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to St. Paul basketball on Hot 105. I thank everybody for listening on the live stream. St. Paul comes out victorious, 63-43. Join us Thursday night as we travel to Howard West Elk. 6 o'clock start time. Tune in.